Sounds straight.
Welcome to South End Supporters, a St. Louis City SC podcast powered by Ready to Live Wellness and coming at you from the Warrior Logo Wear Studios. David Heck alongside Eric Cole and the Monday morning center back Dave Wyckoff. Gents, a wild one at Citypark on Saturday afternoon. And I don't know, I got to apologize. I think I'm a little bit hoarse. We've got this case of strep that's wreaked havoc on our household, Eric, over the last couple of days. I don't know if I have it or not, but I definitely feel like I've got something going on in the vocal cords a little bit right now.
Oh, man, you hex. Kristen said she used to get strep all the time when she was little. I don't think I've ever, knock on wood, had strep throat.
I don't know.
From everything I hear, it sounds not fun.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I have either, and I probably don't, but I'm definitely not 100%. I'm not like Jordan flu game sick. Like, Eric, you remember the one episode we did a couple of years ago?
How could I forget?
That was tough.
Yes.
That was tough. A lot of people were talking about it, comparing it to some of the greatest, achievements out there in sports. But I did battle back, and we did at least one episode that night. It was tough. I don't feel that bad. I just feel like something's wrong. Was it the larynx? Something along those lines there, right? Something's a little bit. I don't know the anatomy, all of it, Dave. But
how's your epiglottis?
I don't know what word you just said, so I don't.
How about how's your uvula?
Oh, uvula. I had a bruised uvula one time. Insert whatever joke you'd like to insert there. But I had a surgery one time, and they stick a tube down your throat, Dave, during surgeries.
Oh yeah, that gives me the jeebies looking at it.
Oh my God, right? And you've had surgeries, Eric. You know what it's like, and it's like, I had that, and then it bruised my uvula. You want to know mouth pain? Go bruise your uvula. That's a terrible situation.
Sounds awful. I've known you significantly longer than Eric, and I tend to view your claims of sickness with a skeptical eye. Knowing your history of hypochondria, and we'll just leave it at that. I hope you don't have mono. I really hope that's not the case.
Yes, Aim. I was actually just having this conversation a half an hour ago with my wife and daughter, because I also have, and if there's, I don't know, are we popular in the medical community, Eric and Dave? Like, are doctors listening to this show regularly?
Oh, yeah.
I would think so.
Actually, probably part of their training.
I would think so.
Talk to patients.
I could see somebody performing surgery with like an earbud in, listening to this during.
Yeah.
But I've got this spot in the back of my neck, like vertebrae area, that's very painful, and it's hard to move my neck as well. And I was talking about this earlier, and Sarah had said, well, it's only been a couple of days, so you probably slept funny. I said, no, it's been a couple of weeks. This has been going on. And then she says, but you complained about it a couple of days ago. I said, yes, because my pain threshold is so high. It's so high. For 2 weeks, this has been going on. I just started complaining about it, so it's bad. And then, of course, that led to, but you complain all the time about when you're sick and the hypochondria. I get it, right? I get it all. But I'm falling apart. I don't know. I'm not quite 40 yet, but I feel like I'm much older.
Did you hit? You hit that age? So for me, when I turned 33, it all just fell apart. Like injuries, like simple stuff. Yeah. Ask Dave. Like the first early sessions that I would show up to, like the Thursday night, it was every game something was popping on me, and I was like, I don't understand what is going on. And it was just like, after I turned 33, it was like those little things. Maybe your age is.
I have
38.
I have a really good. I call him a friend, more of a business acquaintance that I've met out in Oklahoma. Shout out to Mr. Paul Moore. He'll never listen to this podcast because he hates soccer and he's just a good old boy. Never meaning no harm. But he is he's 50. I think he'll be 51 this year. And he is in about as good a shape as Eric is. And he would meet me for breakfast and would talk about his workout routine before he would come to breakfast. And I said, man, you're 50 years old now. Like, how do you do this? How do you find the energy? And he said, Dave, you can't let the old man in. And that stuck with me. Don't let the old man in.
I like that.
Yeah. So, we just try to do what we can, boys. Just stay off Father Time.
I
Yeah,
like that, and then I also like the thought of like us just calling this show from here on out, just because he let it. Here comes the mouth pain, because that's what I feel like we just spew all the time. Is
Yes,
just mouth
yes,
pain.
mouth
yes.
pain, which translates to ear pain for some as well. A wild one, as I mentioned, at City Park on Saturday. It was a 3:30 start, I think it was. 3-3 score. Man, this just so many goals. 3 of them for Klaus. It was a lot of fun to watch. I watched it all from the comfort of my living room. I had a very busy weekend on Father's Day. Eric, I'm assuming you were there. Dave, were you in attendance?
The 204 was in the building. Yes, sir.
Wow, wow, wow. Did I hear a little bit about potentially mingling with the listener out there at City Park?
Yeah, we got after it a little bit. But the backstory to all of this, and I guess we'll get into some tifo talk right off the bat, despite the exciting game and the 3 goals. So I got to give another shout out, and this has gone out over Instagram and Discord, but I have to give a huge shout out and so much love to number one, the Thieves STL supporter group, who um, allowed myself and then my kids, Zoe and Dex, to participate in the painting of the tifo for Saturday. And then major shout out again to No Goal Patrol and KVK, both KVKs, Mr. and Mrs. KVK, who were both in attendance there. But Kyle's the one who has been talking about giving us a heads up about it for a couple years now, and we did it, and it was awesome. We went to, I think it was called the Spanish Society. It's down in South City, and went to this old, I don't know if it was a gym or just some kind of meeting room, and they laid it out across the floor, and we painted that thing with brushes and rollers, and it was a cool time. It was exhausting. There's some very sweaty Instagram pictures of me because it was muggy, but we had a good time. And then they got all that done. So the mingling started because I volunteered to go down and help load up the tifo and took it into the stadium with KVK and with some of the Thieves, which is real cool. Got it all set up. Then went and hung out with Santos and had these just ridiculous quesadilla tacos and talked
Wow,
to all kinds
I
of people.
love those. By the way,
Oh, they're so good. I got to remember the place, man. I wrote it down somewhere, but they do have like a brick and mortar place. But they were outstanding. Had one chicken, one beef. There's some pictures on Discord, and I think I could probably get them on Instagram. But it was outstanding. Hung out with some really cool people. Like I said, Mr. and Mrs. KVK. Uh, Jerry, I don't know if you guys have got to meet Jerry yet. She's on Discord, Eric. Jerry's birthday was Saturday. She turned 72.
Oh, I loved her
This,
message.
yeah, and this woman, she's I met her at the tifo painting. Jerry with a G. And I met her at the tifo painting, and she was handing out these smiley face buttons on her birthday. She had an awesome day. She got Berkey's gloves after the game.
Nice.
Yeah, and there's so many people I can't remember names. I'm terrible with names that we had a good time with. And this is the second time in a row. Hung out with Chris Gebhardt a little bit. It was just awesome, man. It was just a good time. And again, the tifo experience was really cool. So shout out
yeah.
to everybody involved in that.
Very cool, Dave. I wish you could have snuck maybe a picture of a chicken wing on one corner of that tifo. That would have been nice as well. So maybe next
A
time.
flat, clearly
Eric,
a flat.
Eric, you're no stranger to sweaty Instagram photos. How was your pregame experience?
I was actually like cutting it a little closer than my normal time, because I actually went to Ready to Live Wellness. Shout out Ready to Live Wellness. They had their summer party to kind of kick off the summer
okay.
going on. Big inflatable like water slide and everything. And I figured since I'm already heading that way, I'll leave a little early and stop by there. And so got down there, messaged Dave and made our way in, and then made my way to the damn fine hand pies, because again, Dave made it sound so great the last episode, and I mimicked his order. And I just also want to let the person who worked at Damn Fine Ham Pies know that no forks were used on that gooey butter cake, no matter how much he looked me up and down and said, "You're going to need this." I said, "Challenge accepted," and went hands over. And that sucker is thick, and it is like reminiscent of almost like a cheesecake, like Dave described. But I'm telling you, boys, that's up there for the running as far as one of my favorite things I've had as far as like in stadium. More of the gooey butter cake. The ham pie was amazing. I love the dill ranch. The only problem I was experiencing for the rest of the day is anytime I would burp, it was just that dill pickle ranch was like coming back up. So anybody who was in a vicinity, because as we know, I'm not the quietest when I'm watching these games, they probably had to be thinking like, what? Like looking around like, what is that smell?
Yeah.
That's
That's an awful description. I'm glad I wasn't sitting there. Did you? I'm confused on the order, Eric, because you said gooey butter cake, then you said dill ranch. Is this two different things we're talking about?
So sorry,
Okay.
I got the damn fine ham pie, the chicken bacon ranch or the chicken bacon cheddar hand pie.
Okay.
As like my meal.
Yeah.
And then I backed it up. I went between because there's 3 options that they have there that all looked great that stood out. There was a peanut butter jelly donut. There was a apple fritter, which I love apple fritters, but I had to go with that gooey butter cake. Especially I love that, and then the way Dave described it. I know you're not a gooey butter cake guy, but like this was
It's much more cheesecake like.
No, I love cheesecake.
So I think if I get it again and you're there, you'll try some because it.
Will you feed me, Eric?
Oh, of course. I mean, that's
will
how
you Robin feed him?
Will you Robin? Don't Robin feed me.
No, we don't do that. But that we do. If anybody does know us and they know us well, when we get food at the stadium, we feed each other.
Of course.
How we. I mean,
of course.
That's
like,
hot.
Yeah, and if not, we do the whole like link arms, and then we, that's how we.
Oh, that's
eat
so
our food,
romantic.
So, yeah.
You know, a lot of people were feeding Klaus on Saturday. A lot of people. 3 to be exact. What a performance, guys. And you see that segue there. That was professionally done.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was proud of it as well. What a game. What a performance by Klaus. Had 2 goals all season long coming into this performance. Leaves with 5 for the season after a hat trick for João Klaus. It was great to see him get back going. But, look, not a great team you're playing. City probably in itself is not a great team. But regardless of how good this team is or isn't, it is a much more interesting and more fun to watch product than it was a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I think the thing I noticed in kind of rewatching it back today that was echoed on the broadcast is like it was just such an open game, and it just felt like both teams looked at this game as like this is our chance to go get 3 points against what probably each team thought was a weaker opponent, and so. And wildly thinking like it was a 3-3 game, but like, man, like you look at like Betch probably should have had 2. There were a couple left on the board. And then even for Galaxy, there were a few, like, what was it? Within the first 2 minutes, Peck had that shot that Berkey makes a save on from point blank. Like there were a lot of goals still on the table. I
thought the same. There were 2 or 3 chances, it seemed like, in the first half an hour that could have went in. There could have been 8 or 9 goals scored in this thing.
It was just so open, so back and forth, just so bunch of like counterattack. I think it was, really, you look at it, I still feel like City was definitely the better team. You look at like 2 of their goals were probably off our own defensive mistakes. But you're exactly right. I saw somebody put out a stat today, which is, pretty obvious. It was like there were 11 goals, and I think it was like 15 games under Olaf's term, and we're already at 6 or 7 under Critch for like 3 games or something. Like it's just a more exciting way to play, whether it's going to be, and I think it's just a more way that fits our team. Now, is it going to be something that makes us the most successful in the long run against the bigger teams? Who knows? But it's just great seeing, especially when a team like the Galaxy, who's been struggling this year, come to town, and honestly, just seeing both teams going for it rather than the old way of us just like shelling up, hoping we catch them on one and then trying to wait them out the rest of the game. There was plenty in this one, and it was exciting.
It was exciting. It was nerve-wracking. It was frustrating. It was exhilarating. I think in a game like this, it's even more glaring why you miss Leuven and just sort of the calming presence that he brings to the midfield. And then why you really miss Kessler with the calming influence that he brings to the defense. This was a really poor defensive effort all around. And I chalked that up to a lot of things, but mostly to the fact that the middle of your park is kind of in disarray because of injury and just poor play in general. Jay Reed, I thought, had his worst game as a professional. He made several mistakes on the ball, several mistakes off the ball, couldn't stay on his damn feet, and refused to go forward. So, burn the tape on that one, Jay, because he's got a lot of talent, obviously, and I think that he's going to have to learn. He's going to have to learn some hard lessons with the way that this team is composed right now. He's going to have to learn how to play a little bit smarter off the ball. But it wasn't just him. I thought Morales had a really poor game. I thought Watts had a really poor game. I thought Celio's playing himself right back onto the bench, as far as I'm concerned. At this point, he's just out there because there isn't another option that can come off that left side. But I think I counted a dozen times where he picked the ball up in an advanced position on the left side and decided to trail or go square. He looked like he plays for Chelsea at this point. He looked like Reece James does at right back. But you can't be disappointed about 3 in the back of the net. Klaus finally figured out that if I just pill the ball as hard as I can, there's a good chance that it's going to go in the net. He looked great. I thought Betcher looked really good. Hartle's still finding it, but that was a nice little setup. Take him off of free kicks, for God's sake. Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, you blew 2 leads, and then you showed a lot of grit and determination to salvage a point out of that. But you're a better team than the Galaxy are, and you got to take 3 out of that one, whether or not you're struggling with personnel or not. But it's hard to be bummed out about an exciting game like that. Much better. There's not many better ways to spend a Saturday than a 3-3 just shootout like that.
It's interesting that you say you thought Betcher had a good game. I almost thought he had one of his worst. It's almost like that confidence that was stuck on Klaus's back is almost transformed into the Betch a little bit. Touch seemed a little bit more off. I know he's asked to do a role that he's probably not as comfortable with, playing a little bit more out wide and trying to more facilitate than probably what he's used to. But man, those first 2 opportunities, one of those 2 has got to be in the back of the net, in my opinion. And then I just kept thinking the whole game, like, man, he could probably use a sub at this point. Yeah, Morales, obviously, he yanked at half, and then doesn't help that the guy he, is replaced by with Wallum, he make like 10, 15 minutes before he picks up a knock. It's just like, man, down the middle of the field is just our biggest glaring issue. To you, it's like, yeah, it's showing more and more Leuven's quality and that ability, not only just to control the game, but that big body in there. Like, you look at who really just absolutely destroyed us throughout the game. I know Peck was the one on the sheet, but Marco Royce this was, vintage Marco Royce. And I think they even said on the broadcast, like, had he not dealt with so many injury woes, like, they were disappointed to see him come off the field because of how well he was playing. So I think right now our glaring issue is just straight down the center of the field. You got, I thought Bumgarner played good, but, Hebert's still just
Hebert's Hebert. Hebert's a better player.
Hebert's Hebert, and, he'll do his role, but I think to propel our defense, we need somebody that's a little more than just do that role. Like you said, a Kess would have been perfect in there that game. Watts and Morales I don't really think they linked up at all. There just didn't seem to be that partnership. And to their credit, how many times have they ever been on the field at the same time together, really? So, maybe that shows. And then, luckily, though, up front, straight down the middle, Hartle, I thought, had a fantastic game. And then Klaus, obviously, team of the match day, player of the match day, like, well-deserved. It's been a long time since we've been able to say that. Like, just even team of the match day, it seems like what was it? That first year, you could have just pick a spot and there's going to be some sort of city red in there. And anymore, it's just like you're almost hoping Berkey gets it. And it's just like, that's not a good thing when your goalie's getting in team of the match day. So, yeah, some good performances, some not. But you're just happy to still see that I still feel like things are trending in the right way. And if you can get your number 9 feeling confident off a hat trick, that's what everybody, I think, has been really calling for this year.
It's certainly better than it has been, and that goes back to, what I had mentioned, I think it was the week before last, but just with Critch stepping up and the style in which they're playing, love it or hate it, and maybe there's a happy medium, I don't know, but it, to me, is much more aesthetically pleasing than the Olaf style was. And again, I go back to it, but it seems like this team was built for the style that they're currently playing again. And you see the results seem to be better. I mean, again, are they Are they a playoff team? Probably not, maybe not. I don't know. But they're at least able to put goals in, and that's what. At the end of the day, like if it's going to be a product that's I shouldn't say product. If it's going to be a team that's going to struggle, at least the product should be fun and exciting to watch. That's my opinion, and I was thoroughly entertained on Saturday watching at home, as I would imagine just about everyone was over at City Park.
That's an interesting point you bring up, like a happy medium. Dave, I'm curious to get your thoughts. Do you feel like that happy medium could be with a fully healthy team where you do have like Kess, who's calm on the ball back there with Baumgartel, and then so there's that calmness. Then the slower almost build up. We're seeing a lot of improvement on possession, where then you have Leuven in there who can keep that kind of composure on the ball as well, and then directly in front of him you have Hartle, who's also pretty well. Like, do you think that happy medium could be within a healthy team, or do you think there's still pieces that we need to find that happy medium?
I think that San Jose game was the happy medium you're looking for. There was possession, there was pressure, there was finishing. That's the happy medium. But again, look at that starting 11, and look at the starting 11 you ran out there this week, and you're going to be even worse off when you come back on June 25th on that Wednesday night game. So you're being really restricted by your personnel and your lack of fitness right now. And like, I'm not advocating for anybody to get fired in terms of like, trainer, healthcare provider, whatever, but this is absurd, man. Like, I've never seen anything. This is like Dr. George Pauletta, St. Louis Cardinals mid-2000s.
There's a reference.
Like people going down left and right with Tommy John and shoulder and rotator cuff surgeries. Like
Woody Williams, I think, was on the IL that year for swinging a bat. Might have overswung at some point.
It does not make any sense. It's either they're rushing back too fast, which this is probably a little bit of everything. They're either rushing back too fast, in which case you have to protect the players from themselves, or the treatment is not sufficient while they're trying to get back. I don't know. I only know what it's like to try to come back from injury. I don't know exactly how to treat all these injuries, but good God, man, like how can you have so many hamstrings on one team? It just boggles my mind how that it's a common injury, right? It's an explosion injury. It's soft tissue. I just don't. Are there this many, relatively speaking, in professional football? Like, I know there are, but that's a 53-man roster. So I can't wrap my mind around it.
Yeah, I could see there being more soft tissue injuries in soccer than football. I mean, maybe I'm way off when I say that, but the football injuries seem to be a little bit more gruesome, I think, when it happens, just due to the contact and the nature of it. But I feel like it's easy to tear something like running, full speed and trying to make cuts. I don't know. I could see there being a lot of soft tissue injuries in soccer, and the fact too that you're constantly going the entire game. I think that you just have more chances, perhaps. I mean, obviously you're not getting just absolutely pelted by a linebacker, but you are moving a lot, and you have to move and move laterally as well. Like, there's a lot of quick movement. And it's hot, there's opportunities there for the heat and everything to cause you to cramp up in that. Like, I can see it, but you're right. Like, I feel like there's been an abundance.
But like Kansas City plays in the same weather conditions as City does.
That's a great point.
Columbus plays in the similar weather conditions. Nashville, Chicago. I mean, there's a common factor here, and it's that it's City players, and it's a hamstring injury.
Has Luke's addressed this at all, or Diego, or Critch, like in any of the? Like,
I don't know.
If they like,
I don't know how you
has this even been asked? Like, why is this not like, hey, what's kind of been going on with like this constant like?
Do people like playing? I mean, has the surface ever been addressed before?
I mean, the surface is natural.
Not to my knowledge, no.
I cannot imagine a world where a bunch of European players would rather play on an artificial surface as opposed to that pit.
Yeah.
No, there's no way.
I mean,
No,
that pitch
no,
is like it's like a fairway. It's like the fairways at Gateway.
It looks great. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
I think if anything, you want that because you want. I mean, I know maybe there's times you slip, but that means you're not getting locked in like you would with turf. That's why you see all those like ACL injuries. The foot plants, but the knee keeps going. So I would almost think, if anything, the turf would help. But
yeah, my biggest thing is there's been how many injuries have happened on a Friday training session. That seems to be the game injuries are going to happen. I don't think it would be as in your face, like obvious and like, oh my God, another injury, another guy went down, somebody picked up another knock. If there weren't so many practice time injuries for this team, that's a concern.
Or to Dave's other point, like what was it, the Leuven one? He said he felt something like before the game had even started. I mean, hey, he put in a fantastic performance for 90 minutes, but like, what are these players also feeling something on Friday and not saying anything because they're wanting to get game time? You know, like there's just a lot of questions. Like you said, as a player, sometimes you got to protect yourself from the player, but also if a player isn't properly like, you know, giving you all the information that maybe you need, it's setting himself up for. I'm sure we've all been there. Just, you know, it's probably nothing. I'll be all right. You know, and just shrugged something off that turns out, you know, a little bigger deal. I don't know if it's that. I mean, but you're right. This is, I mean, for how many times I've followed soccer, I've never seen a season like this, let alone hamstrings, but just injuries in general. It's just been like, man.
It's really hard to try to build on any sort of momentum when you are continuously shorthanded. Like there's like Critchley basically has no shot at this point because he can't keep a healthy squad out there through no fault of his own, really.
And then the other issue you'll see too is like, since it's so rotated, he's going to have to keep playing those main guys just to have a decent chance, which then you're running the risk of fatigue on that player as well. Cause he's like, we don't have any other options. And it's rough.
Well, as someone currently dealing with a lot of pain in my one of these vertebrae that I have in my neck, I will say it couldn't come too soon to have a potential medical sponsor of this program. We'll get the marketing department on it, and perhaps they could assist in what's going on down there.
What about Dr. John?
Dr. John?
Dr. John's.
Dr. John's.
Dr. John's.
Oh, I remember Dr. John.
Is that the medical sponsor that you're looking for?
Could be. It could be, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be. They offered, I think, some medical devices at Dr. John's.
They did. They offered aid.
They did offer aid. Some medical costumes, perhaps. I think there's a section for that, I believe.
Yeah. Yes.
We'll see if see if they're still in business. I think online put a lot of them out of business, but if we get somebody from the marketing department on that would be great to check in on Dr. John's and see if they'd be open to sponsoring.
Marketing department is.
Yeah, they're going to be all over that one. Last thing on this game, is this, just quickly, both of you, is this something to be, I don't know if excited is the right word, but are we trending in the right direction here?
Yeah and no. So we're
Great answer.
Great answer, I know. I would say we're taking 2 steps forward and 1.5 steps back. So we're still making progress, but I think it's not to the level of what, you know, because it's still the same mistakes. It's mistakes that are beating us. I don't feel like we're, at least in this Critch era, I don't feel like we're just getting beat. I feel like we're making mistakes, whether it was against Portland when we're not finishing the ball off, or in this game against LA, where it was a lot of just, you know, defensive lapses, we'll just say. So I do feel like we're getting back to, I think the biggest thing, like I touched on last week, was just the comfort in possession. It looks a little bit better. We're still making, you know, stupid turnovers and stuff, but it just looks, the ball movement looks much, much better, in my opinion. We're hopefully starting to get this finishing bug off our backs and kind of starting to at least put in goals to where we're at least competitive throughout these games, no matter where they're at. I think that to your guys' point, the toughest thing is always going to still be is you're not dealing with a healthy squad, because even if you get these guys back, we've touched on it many times on the show, it takes a while to get up to full game speed, to your full potential. So let's just say you even got a guy back. It may take 3 games for them to get back to that possible 90 minutes playing with game time speed and touch on the ball. So it's not just a matter of we're losing these guys. It's even the guys we're getting back. You can't just expect from day one they're going to be right back in 90 minutes. I think that Leuven game was kind of like threw us all off guard as far as him going that 90, but look what it ended up doing. Now he's out again. So I think as far as the appeal, and maybe more importantly, if anything, you're getting the fans back excited again. That seems to be the trending thing I'm noticing is the fans are at least a little more excited to see, goals, to see exciting play. We always said you can lose, but you can't lose and be boring. Well, we're not necessarily losing, but we're at least exciting. That, like we've talked about, 3-3 game, back and forth all game. Probably could have been 6-6. Like, it was just exciting. So I'll just say for that aspect, I'll say, in my opinion, yeah, we're still trending. It's just slow.
I'll put it this way. And I'm going to make a food related analogy here, right?
Shocking.
So, at 3-3 game, I had my own 3-3 game. I had the quesadilla tacos. And then when I got in the stadium, I had the chopped brisket sandwich from Beast's Barbecue, which was really, really good. And then we ended up going and having a later dinner on the hill at Favazza's. And I had their rigatoni special. So I ate, I scored 3 goals, but the next day I gave all 3 goals away. And while I had a good time, I realized that I needed to make some improvements, and there were probably some bad decisions to be made. Very rarely in life do our indulgences come without consequences, both on the pitch and off the pitch. So I'll leave it at that.
I am so happy your connection is awful, Dave, because I think you cut out at the end there. And I just feel like it was getting worse and worse and worse. You are, last I checked, shoving a beef and cheese stick into your mouth, like as we speak. Is that accurate?
Oh, it's been gone for a good half hour. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
I'm eyeing down these chicharrones, though. They're too crunchy to eat on air, so I'll save those for when we're done.
Dave, please tell what a chicharrone is. I'm not entirely sure.
Chicharrone is it's a fried pork skin.
Oh, yes, I'm familiar with that.
Oh, okay,
yeah. Low carb, good crunchy snack.
So we got the snack of the show, David. Do we have a fragrance of the show? Do we have our footy fragrance for this evening?
Yeah, I'm wearing Cuttledge Island today, which is a tropical scent, Eric, coconutty. There's notes of bergamot and lavender, some citrus as well, maybe a hint of vanilla, tonka bean perhaps, and one of the
like you
most
spilled a pina colada on your lap.
I would say
it's
it's
similar.
not a fragrance, it sounds like a great drink. So
yeah, it's similar. I'm thinking about going on this cruise in a few weeks, and it's definitely one I'm going to bring because it's going to smell. It's got that coconutty type of scent to it. The most impressive atomizer I've ever seen, Eric. And if you're not familiar with the atomizer, that's the thing that sprays out the top. It's pressurized, so it really releases a nice big cloud of mist. I enjoy it. So it's got good skin coverage, and it lasts a long time. So that's what I'm wearing today. But thank you for asking. It's been a while since we talked fragrances.
we got
fragrances. Yeah,
we got a snack, we got a fragrance. We're covering all areas.
Covering it all. We did talk a little. Go ahead, Eric or Dave.
Snacks, smells, and soccer.
I love it. We did talk a little soccer as well as City draws with LA Galaxy. Their 6th draw this season. They had a bunch last year. They've got a bunch this year. Only Columbus has more draws than City this year. They have 7, and a handful of teams have 6. City has 15 points. They sit in 14th place. They will be off Saturday and then play on Wednesday, the 25th, at home against Orlando. I'll be curious to see what the crowd is like since the product has been a little bit better on field. Is a midweek game that could potentially lead to lesser crowds, but regardless, we will see. Eric, I got for Father's Day, true story, a cold plunge from my wife. So I have a cold plunge. Now, I have yet to take it out of the box.
Have you ever done one?
No, I'm excited about it, but I'm a little nervous. I'm a little bit nervous. Now, I'm also shopping for saunas. I would like to have a cold plunge sauna combo because I have a feeling The sauna will be nice afterwards. Maybe you're supposed to do it before. I don't know how it works, but you would be able to tell me that because of your experience. Ready to Live Wellness. I'd like to hear about it. Also like to hear how we should do this. Sauna first, cold plunge first, what goes first, and what else can you get done at the best gym and fitness community in the entire area?
Well, luckily for me, that's why I'm going, so they can give me the answers, because I'm not exactly sure myself on that. To me personally, I would enjoy a workout into the cold plunge, so I got my body temperature up a little bit, so then the shock from the cold isn't, and then to like ease myself back to reality, go heat. So me personally, I would like a cold, hot, because I think you're supposed to rotate a couple times. But the great thing about it is I don't have to think about that, because Ready to Live Wellness will tell me all those things, and it's a one-stop shop, which is great about it. So no matter what sort of workouts you're looking to do, goals you have, anything, they've got you covered. Summer's coming up, and you want to match those nice pina colada drinks like David's talking about on that cruise with a good, healthy body, and the place to go is Ready to Live Wellness. And then you head right upstairs. They're adding in a whole Pilates studio. They're adding in a whole new spa center. They're getting in masseuses, PTs, body movement specialists. It's already there. It's a one-stop shop. They even have those people that, David, you could go take a look at that spot on your neck and show them why your neck is so stiff, and they'll be able to tell you some things and get you some exercises or movements that'll get you back to normal, because that's where we all want to be. We all want to be at our healthiest possible, and there's one place to go. It's Ready to Live Wellness.
That is our title sponsor, Ready to Live Wellness. Been with us for a couple of years now, and always gracious for the support. 1530 South Kings Highway Boulevard. If you are looking to get swole like Eric Cole, you got to check out Ready to Live Wellness. Our studio sponsor is brought to you by Warrior Logo Wear. They are the studio sponsor of this fine program. Dave, it's where you can get pretty much anything in terms of team sports, shirts, designs, anything you need. They are the uniform provider of my slow pitch softball team, which I haven't played in 3 weeks. You know, I think that might be why the neck is messed up. I think I pulled the ball a little too hard and made it tweak something in the neck area a few weeks back, and that's what's been lingering. I'm not sure. Regardless, we look really good going out there getting short gamed every week.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do, because they use the finest and most durable materials at Warrior Logo, where you will never be disappointed. Whether you're ordering for a team or an event or for work, anything like that, they can hook you up. They can also help you set up a custom web store, help you design your logo if you are artistically disinclined like the three of us usually are. So if you have any sportswear needs, please go check out the folks at Warrior Logo Wear, 12 East Main Street, Mesquite, Illinois, at warriorlogowear.com. They're also on Instagram and Twitter. On Twitter, it's capital W, capital L, capital W, all lowercase on Instagram. Warrior Logo Wear, the official DH drip provider for Friday night.
And I've been told that they don't dig on hidden fees. Is that accurate?
They don't. We don't like them. We hate them. And so does Warrior Logo Wear.
God, I hate them. Man, hidden fees are the worst. It's so great. It makes me want to go there even more. Now, there is no game coming up next Saturday, so we're not going to preview, or this Saturday, I should say, so we're not going to preview anything. However, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't at least talk about STL Kolache at 1530 South Kirkwood Road in Sunset Hills. David, could we just spend a couple of minutes talking about kolaches, if that's okay with you?
I would prefer to record an episode just about kolache. If you want to limit it to a couple minutes, that's fine.
Done.
I know there's a rest of the sode we need to get to. But absolutely, we could talk about some kolaches. I picked up a dozen for a coworker a couple weeks ago for her birthday, and they were a big hit. They were of the breakfast variety, but you can expand beyond breakfast, baby.
Oh, sure you can.
Lunch.
Sure you can.
You can get them for dinner. You can get them for dessert. It's all there. Go see them. Check them out. They're delicious. We love them. We're talking about hucking them around the South End to people that are deserving of it. Yeah. So
I do want to say, as good as those damn fine ham pies were, I know they're trying to copy the STL Kolache, but that cheddar bacon ranch and then the gooey butter cake, they have that at STL Kolache, and
yes,
no offense, it doesn't hold a candle to
what's easier to throw if we were to throw something up in like the 10th or 11th row of 149, a hand pie or a kolache?
I think a Kolache. I think
so.
Kolache's got more of the baseball.
Yeah,
so.
that's like softball vibe. Yeah, plus
Hand pie.
if I
hand
threw
pie
that,
is more like a stuffed croissant.
yeah, it would. Plus, it was so flaky, it would break apart when you went to throw it. Like you wouldn't get a good. And then that gooey butter cake would be like a brick. You'd hurt somebody.
You might hurt
sucker.
somebody with that one.
Can you imagine if somebody scores, runs down to the southeast corner of this thing, and we just threw a kolache out there, and that was the goal celebration? I would like to see that as well. So I think there's a lot of potential that we have with bringing kolaches into the stadium. I think we should.
I think somebody'd still pull a hamstring off it.
Probably.
They'd slip on it and pull a hamstring. Like, that's the way things
just
are going.
make sure it's not one of those volcanic s'mores ones.
yeah. Scarlet, yeah.
Do you think you could juggle with your feet? Do you think you could juggle a kolache?
I mean, I would happily try to find out.
Yeah.
God, there's a lot of possibility. It's a versatile food. You can do all sorts of things with it. It's exciting.
Let us know. Let us know what sort of kolache challenges you want us to complete at some point throughout this season.
Yeah, I agree. God, I love kolaches. 1530.
A dozen of them.
What's that?
I want to challenge myself to eat a dozen of them. There you go.
That ain't gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
That sounds like a challenge. That sounds like a challenge.
1530 South Kirkwood Road in Sunset Hills is STL Kolache, the official match week provider every single week, but we don't have a match to preview. So we will just go ahead and talk a little bit of kolaches. The official kolache of the South End Supporters podcast here is STL Kolache. Now, we want to get to a little bit of news and notes from the back post, brought to you by Elite FT at 101 The Game Drive in Glen Carbon, Illinois. Dave, you are driving. I'm not sure what you have prepared for us in terms of news and notes, but if you have some, we would like to be enlightened.
No, we're parked, baby. We're not driving. We're safe around here. We're hands-free. News and notes in the back post. A couple of quick hitters this week. Number one, yesterday, the U.S. men's national team defeated Trinidad and Tobago 5-0. I don't know if Trinidad and Tobago have actually ever played soccer before. Actually, I know they have because they knocked the U.S. out of a World Cup.
They did better than that Auckland team or whatever that played Bayern Munich. I don't know if you saw the score of that one.
Do not besmirch Auckland City FC on this podcast. That is a team of semi-professionals that just played one of the best clubs in the world. They deserve nothing but praise. Those dudes, all those dudes have side jobs.
Yeah, the goalkeeper who put out a stellar performance. They were saying like he's like what was it? I don't know. I think he drives a forklift or something.
They're like factory workers,
factory or something.
Like bartenders. And shout out Auckland City.
Struck a chord with Auckland City. By the way, Trinidad and Tobago was the first team that the Mighty Ducks played, or sorry, Team USA played in D2.
They did.
And they also got dominated, by the way.
But they scored and they partied because
they
that
did.
was probably the first
one goal.
Ever scored.
That's
it. It was great. But that was a 5-0 win. Good for the morale, but it is what it is. It's the Gold Cup. It's Trinidad and Tobago. Let's see what they do moving forward with the half-ass roster that they have right now. The other piece was I found I was following because I couldn't find the broadcast of the City 2 game last night. I was just following Twitter. They came back down 2-0 with 4 minutes left to go and ended up winning the game 3-2 in stoppage time. Absolutely incredible. Just gutted it out. The City 2 team, they just keep finding ways to get it done after a little bit of a lull. So awesome for them. I know they're missing, Makai Joyner is still on international duty. So props to them. Still getting it done, missing some of their best players, missing their coach. It seems like Coach Hack's got them playing pretty well, though.
Yeah. I do want to say real quick, David asked earlier, do you think this team's trending in the right direction? Here's what I will say, almost to go off of that, just what we just saw with City 2. City 2 all year has had that never say die. They're in it all the way till the end. At least now, City, the first team, you think they go down 3-2 late in the game in the past, they would have held heads and just kind of sat back, and they came back and they stayed in the game up until the final whistle, and they were fiery and up to it. So that's something we can at least look, in a positive light.
Yep, agreed.
They're staying in it.
Agreed. And that's it for the news and notes.
That's it.
Sorry, I got two things real quick, and then we'll get onto the next part. But I think we mentioned it, but Klaus was team of the match day, and then also he was player of the match day. So got to give him the respect. Super cool to see. And then last thing, I want to give a shout out to my alma mater, O'Fallon, Illinois girls soccer team, because not only did they win state again, I think my brother said it's like the third time in 5 years. He's a coach on that team, but they actually finished #1 in the nation as far as high school girls soccer. So amazing for them. It's so cool seeing his passion coaching them and just continuing to have success. But man, to finish #1 in the nation, I think is just an incredible achievement. So shout out to the O'Fallon Township High School girls soccer team.
It's just too bad they ducked Father McGivney. You know, maybe if they hadn't ducked McGivney, we wouldn't be having this discussion. So, brilliant scheduling move by them.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it's like. You don't want to play the tough 1AA team, or the tough FCS team in the early goings. It's a good move by the bigger school, I'd say. Yeah. And it played out well. News and notes from the back post brought to you by Elite FT, 101 The Game Drive in Glen Carbon, Illinois, inside of the Sports Academy. We transitioned. God, this is an action-packed, a jam-packed episode. Just doing one. Sir. We've got a lot of sponsors to get through because people like to support this fine program. And now we get into our favorite of the week, which is the Felix's Pizza Pub South and Submissions at 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown. You talk about damn fine hand pies. These are damn fine pies, brother. Damn fine pizza pies at Felix's Pizza Pub. Pizza and wings, lots of good beer, and just people. Just good people, Eric. I think when I'm thinking about Felix's, I'm thinking about the pizza. I'm thinking about the wings. I'm thinking about the drinks, and I'm thinking about the people. They are great people at Felix's, and it's always fun to go down there and watch games, home or away. They are an official City on Tap bar, and really enjoy going to Felix's. Love that place. I think we have some news potentially coming up here soon, but I will turn it over to you. We get into submissions, and we can discuss what might be coming down the pike.
Yeah, you talked about all the things that you love there, the people, the wings, the pizza, the beer, everything, and we love it so much that we are bringing it back. The South End supporters are hosting a watch party back at Felix's Pizza Pub. We've had people asking when we're going to do it again. And we finally settled on a date. It'll be for the July 19th game against FC Dallas. That game's going to be starting at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. We will be getting down there probably early like we did last time, mingling with everybody. We're hoping to have a bunch of people out. We're going to invite all our friends. Show up. It's going to be a good time. I know the first time we did it, we highlighted it as our favorite time of all last season. So looking forward to this one again. Again, it's going to be at Felix's Pizza Pub on July 19th at 7:30 Central Time, taking on FC Dallas. So hopefully we continue in this progress that we're seeing, and we're going to be all witnessing a win at Felix's Pizza Pub together. So excited to bring that back. We will kick off our Felix's Pizza Pub South End submissions tonight. We'll go to Facebook first. We'll go with our man, Jeff Thornborough. He said, what a fun match, full of ups and downs. Great finish by our number 9. On the bright side, we are just above the relegation zone in the Supporter Shield standings. From the South State supporter, a great American, Jeff Thornborough. I think he was back in attendance Saturday. I was seeing him up there. But again, Dave, we got to get you to meet the great American, Jeff Thornborough.
One of the best.
Agreed.
One of the best in the business. Yeah.
One of the best. Next, we'll kick it over to Donna Worthen. She said, from Rick's Rants. Here we go. He said, compare and contrast the team's play with the new coach compared to the last coach. We only tied, almost lost, but it was still entertaining to watch. Got a music question. What song immediately transforms you to your high school days and makes you start singing? When you name the song, where you are, and when you transform back.
Man, that's a good question, Donna. I want to address Rick's rants first. It didn't really sound like a rant.
It sounded positive almost.
He's been calm. Yeah. He's been calm lately. I'm not sure what's going on, but he's
is that the scary calm right before like a true explosion?
Maybe,
you know, like
maybe.
Past like a certain level.
He's numb to some things at this point. But yeah, he's been calm. So I was with him this weekend, and he was very relaxed. Seemed happy. He was drinking some IPAs. That could have had something to do with it. But very calm. So he has not been ranting as much lately, and I like to get him going. I like to get him riled up a little bit. It's always fun. But I haven't been able to. So good for you, Rick. It's probably healthy for you. I don't know. As far as songs go, that's a good question, Donna. I don't know if that came from Rick or if that came from Donna. I thought about this earlier, and then I got distracted, and then the thought went away. But as far as a specific song that takes me back somewhere, There's like a million of them. Like
I was gonna say they always say like, what is the saying? Like, what was in your high school years is what you almost consider to be the greatest years of music. A
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
times, like
yeah.
people.
Agreed.
I have one just because I feel like it took over, and it's not necessarily a song that like I think of necessarily, but like if I come like you only hear it and think about like those times was Soldier Boy's uh
Crank
Superman.
that.
Yeah, Crank That.
Crank that, Eric. The
Because
official
that
title.
just took over. There was a dance involved. I remember like any like prom or like everybody knew that sort of dance and everything. Like that to me was one that just blew up, and it was like I can't think of that song without thinking of like my high school days.
So you're a little younger than me. I was listening to that song in my college years, which were short lived. But I was doing that dance, believe it or not, at parties. I hated my younger self, or hate my younger self, but I really was thinking fondly of my younger self when I was my younger self. But looking back on it, not great overall. I did listen to that quite a bit. My song from high school that jumps out to me on the same kind of genre, I would say, would be "Yeah" by Usher, Little John, and Ludacris.
That's a
That
good
song was played on repeat everywhere. Homecomings, proms, you name it, you were going to hear it a lot. There's a lot of other ones, and you go back to the 90s and just like tons of songs from my childhood. There's one moment I remember, Dave, May Carousel at Granite City. They played a video of like all the baseball moments from that year, and they played Good Riddance by Green Day. That was an emotional time. That song sticks out quite a bit. But for happy purposes, I'll say yeah. I think that was probably the one that jumps out at me the most.
That Green Day song has attached itself to about 23 years worth of people's high school memories.
I know. It's crazy.
That and what was it? Vitamin C.
Vitamin C, Graduation.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is a good one. I could go with any I could go any direction with this.
I know.
But
I know. Yeah. It's
there's
such
something about like the song "Number One Stunna" by Big Timers that's just like being just like stupid and like 16 and like just loving that song. I'd say, I mean, I've got, this is more personal, but that the by the way, the album the Chili Peppers came out in 2003 or 2004. I can't remember, but that was the second concert that I went to, and like my first like big like got super excited to go to it to see that album from beginning to end. So everything on that album, particularly the song "By the Way," reminds me of that time. Yeah, no, that's good stuff. Soldier Boy definitely reminds me of young DH, and I loved young DH and elder DH.
You didn't.
So
you did not, and you like me a lot more now. I promise.
That's such
Hollywood,
a lie.
Hollywood T-shirt DH. DH.
That was pre-Hollywood T-shirt DH. That
Yeah, maybe. It was definitely in that era.
It was strong.
I've only ever known Hollywood T-shirt DH.
Yeah,
I love it. I
still
love
have the
that
shirt. I might wear it on the next podcast.
Please do.
Oh, that shirt's still around.
Oh yeah,
that's
I've not gotten rid of it. It's tucked
Well,
away in
you're
a drawer.
probably swimming in it at this point, also because you're
Maybe.
you're much more fit these days.
Maybe.
You should wear that shirt and Roberts' sweatpants that you never took off. Or,
Yeah.
you should wear that.
Those got burned, I think. But the
As
shirt
they
is
should have.
the shirt's still in possession.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. That's a great one, Donna. Next, we'll go to our man Eric O'Donnell real quick because he said, changed it up and posted on the Reddit. How in the F I got the name Educator Guilty, I do not know. Love
He's
it.
Educator Guilty. That's hysterical.
That is awesome. We'll go to a name we haven't heard in a while, and what do you know? We get a goal scorer all of a sudden. He pops back up. It's our man.
Oh, there he
Dave
is.
Spurry Sperry. He said,
Well.
He said, well, I took your advice and waited to comment. There were positives in the very frustrating game. Nice to see a hat trick, but we'll still say Klaus is a hold-up player. The third goal was very impressive comeback. Still should have been more clinical in the first half. Yeah, I mean, should have been, but at least we're getting goals finally. Like, just Give me goals.
Yeah, he's not wrong. It could have been 4 or 5.
Yeah, for sure.
Could have conceded. Could have conceded 4 or 5 too, though.
Yep.
Yeah, it never felt, especially in the first half, the beginning. But the first half, LA just didn't feel like they had as much dangerous opportunity as City did. I don't know. Maybe that's me looking at it.
No, I agree.
Through perfect hindsight. The second half they did because the game got absurd and way too open. But no, yeah, he's never going to be happy. The man is never going to be happy. We love him. Haven't seen him in a bit.
No.
Haven't seen him at the park in a bit.
I know. Need to.
It always puts you in a good mood when he chimes in, though.
It does.
Oh yeah,
it
feels
right.
When I saw it popped up, I did a double take to make sure it wasn't like an old one that just happened to come back or something like that. And I was like,
he's kind of a nostalgic. There's a bit of nostalgia I think that comes with a Spurry text.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he's a kind of an OG, right? I mean, he's been around a long time, so it's nice to hear from him.
I miss feeling that big bear claw on your back whenever he would notice you at the stadium.
Oh yeah.
It's like, who is that? And it's like, all he would say is, "We need a true goal scorer," and you're like, "Spurry." It's just like, what's up? So hopefully he'll be at the watch party because I think he came to the first one. We'll go to our road dog, Matthew Keller. He said, "Morning, y'all. So good to burst the bubble a little bit here, but unfortunately, the account I worked on doesn't really give me the time or the opportunity to try out places that aren't close to Walmart or Sam's Club or a truck stop." As we said on the last episode, he chimed in with his deli choices. And we asked him, since he's out on the road all the time, to kind of let us know any of the places in different states that we would need to check out if we ever go there. He said, "Though I can give you some places in the Phoenix and Fort Wayne areas, since I've lived and worked in that area most as a former chef. In the Phoenix area, Chompy's, they are always busy and probably one of the best deli restaurants, places around, very New York City deli style. Number 2 is Nikolai's Italian Grocery Deli. Great place for anything Italian. My old roommate and me would go there once a week. Also, they have Italian League soccer on. I love any sort of restaurant that has their league's soccer is always cool. In the Fort Wayne area, George's International Market. Anything and everything you could want from across the world is there. Hills Meat Market, a local family-run business that has been around since my grandpa was a kid. So super cool spots. He said also, just want to say it's been a great watching the guys have a lot more fight in them these last couple games. Hope it continues and we finish strong for the second half of the season. So, yeah, I mean, it's to his point, I'm glad we're finally just seeing a little bit more, even the frisky stuff off the ball. You're seeing that kind of come back, and it's just nice seeing that passion all the way up until the final whistle again with the team.
I wonder if he's got a fun nickname that he uses on the radio when he's driving around talking to other truckers.
A call sign or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Ooh.
I'm curious about that. That's my submission back to him.
What would your call sign be?
Great question.
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot there, and I'm a little sleepy, so I'm not feeling that witty tonight, Dave.
The obvious one would be Hollywood.
I would say Hollywood would be it. It'd feel like Hollywood would be.
That could be. I don't know, man. I'd have to think about it. We'll workshop that one together.
Yeah, when he sends his in next week, then we'll all come with the.
There you go. Yeah, come with that. Good job. Good stuff here.
Deli boy.
Last one I got on.
Deli boy.
Deli boy.
Deli man.
Deli man.
There we go.
He's graduated.
Last one I got on mine end is from the man, Ryan Cadlick himself, coming in with another Cadlick's Combat. He said, "It was fun seeing our team's first ever hat trick, but what's even more fun is that next week's battle." Here's the part in honor of the double MCB, the best in the business, the voice of cities voiceless, Mr. Dave Wyckoff, all these participants have the letter D and W somewhere in their name. I had to go deep dive on this one, but we've got Darkwing Duck, Doctor Who, Dora Winfrey Reed, DW from Arthur, Duke Weaselton from Zootopia, Duke of Wesselton from Frozen, Dorothy Williams from Soul, Lord Dingwall from Brave, and Dewey from DuckTales. So those will be our combatants for the next week. And now on to this week's battle. It's a whole new start after last week's thrilling finish of Eric Cartman versus War Turtle, which Dave will have our ChatGPT reading of. But same rules apply: 1v8, 2v7, 3v6, 4v5. Random encounter. Participants can use whatever they logically have on them or in their surroundings. Seedings made by ChatGPT. So this week's our battles are going to be between Kim Possible, Inspector Gadget, Randall Boggs from Monsters, Inc., Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas, Puss in Boots from Shrek, Gru from Despicable Me, Pumbaa from The Lion King, and Pink Panther, the cartoon version, not that crappy Steve Martin movie version. So first off, I mean, Dave's collecting like diehard fans like baseball cards at this point. This is insane. That now he has a whole Cadlic combat based around his initials. This is wild.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I hate it personally. But what I don't even want to participate in this one.
Could you at least do us a favor and read what ChatGPT has to say about War Turtle versus Eric Cartman?
Yeah, I'll get on it. Go ahead and, I guess, start everything else, and we can. That's not the first matchup, is it?
Well, that was last week's.
Yeah.
That was our finalist from last week's, and we saved the ChatGPT for when you're on. But this week, so for the first battle, we've got Kim Possible taking on the Pink Panther. So Kim Possible was a spy. You got to feel like she's got reasonable amount of things on her.
She's like a middle school. She's like a child.
But what
and
he's
a Panther. I'm going Panther.
Panther.
You're going Pink Panther?
Not a debate. It's not a debate. I don't know why she got the 1 seed. It's dumb. I don't get it.
Okay. Next, we've
Panther
got
wins.
Inspector Gadget taking on Pumbaa.
Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, I mean, warthogs are, dude, you don't mess with them.
No. He's the friendly
Gadget.
warthog.
Go Gadget.
Yeah, but he could do. He has a lot of things for sure. I'll give it to him.
Yeah. 3, we've got Randall Boggs from Monsters, Inc. taking on Gru from Despicable Me. So Gru might have a ton of minions, but Randall Boggs isn't he the one that can go invisible?
I'm not familiar with who that is. I do know Gru. The minions are going to play a role here. I mean, he stole the moon at one point. Like, I'm going Gru, I think.
I got to go with the minions.
Yeah. And then our last first round matchup is going to be Jack Skellington from The Nightmare Before Christmas taking on Puss in Boots. So Puss in Boots was a hitman, basically.
Yeah, I think Puss in Boots wins.
Yeah,
here.
any character voiced by Antonio Banderas.
Yeah, because he could break out a sword at any point, I feel like.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got Inspector Gadget taking on the Pink Panther in the next round.
Oh, go Gadget.
Go Gadget. Exactly. Yeah.
There we go. And then we have Gru taking on Puss in Boots.
He's only one cat. That's the problem. There's so many minions.
I know. It's hard. Now, Gru has softened in his later years. I mean, original Despicable Me Gru probably wins, but like later on in the series Gru, I don't know. But again, like there's a lot of minions. Like, how does one?
I think it's a numbers game.
I agree, man. It's too many.
Yeah.
So for this week's final matchup, we've got Inspector Gadget's going to take on Gru. We will give that ChatGPT next week. And then this week we go.
Oh, so we're going to do that next week. We're going to go Cartman versus War Turtle this week.
Correct. Yes. We'll read out the winner of this week, and then next week we'll read out who wins between Inspector Gadget and Gru, because we like to give people the chance to think who they would think between.
I like that. So War Turtle. Let's just get a little background into who War Turtle is. As you know, I mean, I'm as big a Pokemon fan as anyone that exists out there. I was spelling his name wrong for the first 2 weeks we did this. Has abilities, can shoot high-pressure water jets, strong defense, quick mobility in water, and trained battle instincts. The combat edge here has elemental attacks like Water Gun, Aqua Tail, and Rapid Spin. Being a Pokemon, it also has significantly above human durability and strength, especially when you play one of those bonus cards or extra strength cards that they like to do. Eric, I think that's how it goes. Shell armor, fast reflexes, and actual combat experience. Eric Cartman is a human. An 8-year-old chaos agent. Ability is very manipulative. He's a manipulative genius. I don't see him as being a genius, but he is manipulative. Psychological warfare, rage-fueled resilience, unfiltered aggression. the edge here. There's no actual combat skill, but excels in dirty tactics, unpredictable schemes, and emotional sabotage. Cartman is likely to bring a tricked out plan, foul language, or even somehow get War Turtle grounded. So who wins? Well, in a straight up fight, War Turtle crushes Cartman, literally. A single water pulse would knock Cartman off his feet. Pokemon are built for combat. Cartman is built for detention, it says here. And a scheming scenario, if Cartman knows he's fighting War Turtle in advance and he has time to prepare, he might try to exploit Pokemon trainer rules, PETA, or invent a device to turn War Turtle into a taco. But 9 out of 10 times still gets drenched and defeated. Verdict, War Turtle wins unless Cartman rigs the ref or bribes someone to DQ him.
Yeah, we said it was going to be
This
hard
is
to build
where
a beast.
ChatGPT falls like woefully short of the nuance, understanding the nuance that is the sociopathy of Eric Cartman. Like, I'll accept ChatGPT's decision, but the methodology is very flawed.
Well, it is the official Cadlick combat decider, the official referee, so to speak, of this fine segment that's become. It's kind of a segment in a segment. It's like a segment of itself. It seems like at this point.
Yeah, we still need to get that marketing department on the sponsor for it.
Oh yeah, they'll be on it. They're working hard on it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
They're on it.
There we go. So we'll send the rest of these to Reddit and Discord.
Reddit and Discord, no major prompts this week because we had a game that had plenty to talk about. So we'll start on Reddit. We'll start with JuiceMan23. Pardon me while it loads up. So glad to see Klaus make a statement. He's one of our most, if not the most important guys we need to get their confidence back. Question for y'all. If you're Lutz, what's your target positionally for the summer window? We need a serious CDM that connects defense to offense. Keeping an eye on how Klaus performs these next few weeks, we should also be looking for a legit number 9 potentially. Thoughts? Question mark. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this because of the Leuven situation. Like, I almost think you need to start thinking about life without Edu Leuven. Like, there's some weird speculation that he might be like done for a while, even without injury. If you caught the video about his wife, about her health situation. I mean, that's emotionally gut wrenching. So, yeah, I would say that's probably where you need to start. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many issues right now. I wouldn't even know where I would want to begin in the transfer window. You just need healthy bodies at this point that want to get after it.
Yeah, to me, just any position down the center. I mean, I think we could use another solid center back. Kess is great, but he's been out quite a bit. Bumgartle, jury's still out if that's going to be our true, partnership going forward or anything like that. I think Nielsen's going to be out. We've already made our kind of feelings known about Hebert, Yarrow. Doesn't sound like Horn's coming back. So, I mean, could always use another center back to everything that you just said. Down the middle of the park, especially in the center mid position, is kind of been a weak issue. Injuries, everything just kind of going on. I think you could add there. And then, we're all excited, but as we were off the first win, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. It's great that he's getting his confidence back and we're seeing goals and all that, but I don't think it could hurt to almost have somebody to where he could still just be a straight up poacher and Klaus can still do a lot of work off the ball, even if they do still play at the same time. So I think anywhere down the center of the pitch, just down that spine, I think we could use a little bit of, if not a little bit of extra depth throughout there.
Yep, agreed. Tobin Santos, if Critch doesn't get the head coaching job, we need to seriously wonder what the front office's motives are. When we go from 11 goals in 15 games under Melberg to 6 goals in 3, something is obviously working. I think that is a prisoner of the moment take there. He's 1-1-1. You really don't have any idea how the team is going to evolve. And I agree I like the approach. But the fact of the matter is he does not have the experience of building an MLS team. He's not versed in personnel. I think if things trend the same way they trended when Hack was finishing up the season last season, and you're competitive for that 9-10 spot, and you go in, you finish the end of the season, relatively strong, and you're competitive, I think you tag him with an interim, or you consider tagging him with an interim for a year, and then you go from there. But now Lutz might be looking to reset his own clock and going on a search for a more long-term solution. So I don't think Critch, short of some sort of miracle, gets offered the full-time position.
Yeah, I say let's see how the rest of the year goes before we even start, because I believe Olaf started 1-1-1 as well, and we saw where that turned and made a big dive, or at least he was 2-2-2 at some point. So I mean, and then watch how things just changed off. Now, I would really be, as we talked about, excited to see what Critch has with a healthy lineup, and then I think you can get a better idea. But I'm with you. Let's give it the year. And then maybe give interim if we're liking it, so where we keep them around. I think no matter what, you still got to be out shopping just in case anything does turn up that's a better fit. But one thing that is nice right now is there's quite a bit of time that we can be out shopping, and hopefully Critch can keep doing the job and keeping the guys trending in the right direction.
Yep. Sly Fox checking in. After another week of finding positives without finding 3 points, yet that again was one of our best games. I'm all in on Critch, even if I fall too hard too early, and it always burns me later. Given my history in poker, I'm usually broke early in the night. But for 2 silver platter goals via tear your hair out mistakes, we walk away from this game with a win. All credit to Klaus for putting us on his Sasquatch-esque shoulders. For a man with constant questions about fitness, he was out there pressing like Gutenberg late in the second half. I don't understand that reference. And scores 2 ridiculous goals to salvage our season. Yes, this season. Imagine how the wheels might have come off the whole franchise in the next 10 days if he doesn't get the equalizer and we lose to the worst team after yet another late-game goal conceded. True. No, in fact, don't imagine that. It will probably kill you. Klaus gave up his soul so that we don't have to. Man, sanctifying him. How about that?
Yeah,
and by ranking let's see here. What did I say? Rank the foosball positions.
And we lost him.
That's it.
Forward,
I can
midfield,
pull them
defense,
up
goal. My ranking. I guess that's in importance. Okay. So ranking foosball.
How does he do this on the fly here? Dave just
leaves the game.
He just disappeared.
His rankings are goalie, defense,
I think it might have been
solar flares.
It's the solar flares.
Oh, man.
100% solar flares. I think.
I think it's.
I had internet issues today, Eric. It was
in
spotty.
terms of importance.
Were you
for a foosball table?
Yeah.
Is it like
is
there still something going on? Yeah, I was going to say
goalie,
what is
defense, midfield. That's me.
The sky looks different, but it did look smoky for a while there. The Canadian smoke,
Canadian
like last week or whatever, but it looks better now. But I did have some spotty internet connection today. I'm assuming Dave's phone died, but who knows?
I don't know. There is a thing where it says, "Hey, speaking of, look at the attached picture and guess the age of the man you see." This is one of those games that no matter what you guess, you're both right and wrong, and it's a picture of a pretty defeated-looking Klaus after the game, where he's got that. Do you have an opinion? Did you like him better? Just like, do you think you just shave it at this point and just run it that way, or like?
Yeah, he's just. He's hanging on. You could always visit Hans Wyman. I think they did some hair transplants back in the day here in St. Louis. Could be a good option for him. I think you probably just get rid of it at this point. It's just kind of hanging on there for dear life.
Yeah,
But it's become his thing. I don't necessarily care. How a gentleman wears his hair, one way or another. I think he's embracing it, and good.
I think it's how you wear it to that point. Yeah. If you rock it and you go with it, I think you're all right. But like,
it's thin. It's thin. I'll tell you that.
And then Educator Guilty 8299, our buddy Eric. Now that we know that, said there's. The one where they talk about Klaus should be tonight's pod name. Another tie, but we're improving. So, yeah. If you go that Friends reference on there, so that's not a little bad. I'll make our way over to the Discord, and he kind of just said all 3 boys should be back recording tonight. And he said, I had consumed an absurd amount of calories on Saturday and can't wait to talk about it. Let's see those South Bend submissions.
And talk about it, did he?
Yeah, Jay Clem came in and said, if you were equating a 3-3 draw to food, what would that be? Would it taste good, or would it be kind of thing that you eat once and never order again? Matt Con 461 said, like White Castles can be fun to eat, but sometimes doesn't sit right with you the next day. Yeah. This is a good kind of
That's
like
the answer. That's where I was going with it. I think Dave had the 3-3 tie. Like, you enjoyed yourself. It was fun in the moment, and then the aftermath was not enjoyable.
Yeah. Chris said 3-3 equals a lot of empty calories. Yeah, you ate a lot, but you got no nutrition out of it. Ooh, that's a good.
It's a good one.
Late night bowl of cereal. You really enjoy it in the moment.
That's a good one. That second dinner of like, hey, the leftover pizza that you had at like 6 o'clock, and it's like 10 o'clock, and you're like, man, I could go for a couple more slices now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
John Love said, and immediately after eating it, kind of feel bad about it. Chris said another good comp, maybe a plate of poor nachos, aka I'm piling on Doritos on tortilla chips on a plate, covering them in shredded cheese and throwing them in the microwave. Again, love it in the moment. Typically, immediately regret. No nutrition, but calories. And then Fetlord Colton comes in and says, with Klaus finding his form of late, do we still see a striker or attacking player that is a poacher still coming in the summer, or more midfield help? Yeah, I think you still go, like I said, I think it's exciting right now, but I think Klaus would even benefit having somebody that can just stay up there while he checks back and does a lot of the work. And then I think they both could almost benefit off it. The other thing, too, is like we talked about with all these injuries, these guys are going to need rest at some point.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't know if Betch is really that guy to take up the pedestal with form he's been in lately. So to me, I would still go for another striker and just like a true Dave Spurry, out and out right goal scorer.
He needs to be out there scouting, I think. I want to know what be looking for somebody.
I want to know like if Dave Sperry out on the road and like scouting, what is he going for and stuff. But yeah, do you have we'll finish on just like what's your guilty food that just directly afterwards you just feel so like? For me, it's any sort of like Italian food, and I think it's because of the feeling, like that bloat, just overly stuffed. You feel heavy after eating Italian food, but like in the moment, you're just like, this is
There was a restaurant in Fort Myers area when we lived there. I think it was in Estero, Florida, which was a little bit north of Fort Myers or east of Fort Myers. I don't know directions. But anyway, it wasn't quite in Fort Myers. When I lived in Florida, and they made pasta, a fettuccine dish that they prepared in a giant wheel of cheese. So they
nice.
They took the fettuccine, very hot. It was very hot. And they would set it inside of the wheel of cheese, and they would just toss it in this. And it would melt the cheese around the fettuccine, and then they would serve it to you. It's amazing, but it is very heavy, very rich. Man, this is a little too much, I think,
Does anybody around here do that? I've never.
They should, because it's awesome, and if they do, you should have it. And then report back to me about how you feel afterwards. But it's amazing. It really is good.
Yeah, that sounds. I've never heard of that, but man, yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it was.
Well, there you go. Those are the South End submissions tonight.
That is the South End submissions, brought to you by Felix's Pizza Pub, 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown. They bring you South End submissions, our favorite segment, every single week. It's the people's segment, Eric, is what it is. It allows the listener to get involved in this fine program. Where can people submit those submissions?
Keep them coming in. We love them each week. On Instagram, we're South End Supporters. Our Twitter and our Reddit is _podcast STL. Make sure you're also following us on our Facebook page and checking out our YouTube. That way you can keep up with all things South End Supporters, like the watch party, again, coming up July 19th at 7:30. Felix's Pizza Pub, South End Supporters Watch Party.
I want to say thanks, as always, to all of our sponsors, especially our title sponsor, Ready to Live Wellness at 1530 South Kings Highway Boulevard, the official uniform sponsor and swag sponsor, and our studio sponsor, Warrior Logo Wear at 12 East Main Street in Mascoutah, Illinois. The official Kolache sponsor also brings you the Match Week preview every single week. The STL Kolache Match Week preview, it is at 1530 South Kirkwood Road in Sunset Hills. We talked about Felix's Pizza Pub, the best place to go watch any city event, either away or at home, at 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown, and Elite FT at 101 The Game Drive in Glen Carbon, Illinois, inside of the Sports Academy. And just like that, we have wrapped up another episode for Eric Cole, for the Monday morning center back Dave Wyckoff, who just randomly left us during this episode. My name is David Heck. You've been listening to Southland Supporters. We'll see you next week. And until then, let's go City.